Hello, family. Today we're going to talk about recovery from psychological homicide. Heavy duty subject, isn't it? And it's taken 25 plus years of recovery. Some days are like I started all over again. Most days, not so much. So we're going to talk about this because it matters. It's really important. There is a brutal truth that just needs to be understood, and it's without exception. It is going to hurt like hell, this recovery from psychological homicide, because it is completely, utterly starting over again in a reality that you never wanted, never envisioned, and would not have for yourself given any other choice. So, of course, the death of dreams, particularly one that was a lifelong dream. If you grow up wanting to be a mom and you swear you're going to do better, and you do better than was done by you, you can understand what psychological homicide does when the child severs themselves from you and takes every ounce of reality you ever had. And so this daughter wound, this deep daughter wound, having to recover from the utter destruction of your reality. If you've ever been there, you know what it is. And if you haven't, you cannot possibly comprehend. I'm going to give you a few examples, my own examples, when it comes to this no contact, ghosting, estrangement, alienation. Just depends on when your kid threw you into this, on what label it is. The very first time I ever consciously remember closing the door on a relationship that had to do with my daughter was one of her very best friends from childhood. And this blessed child had gone through so much of her own stuff. And we had stayed connected even when my daughter was estranged the first or second or third time. And Robin was always there. And then I pulled away. I did apologize. I sent, I think it was Instagram. Never did hear back from her. She finally, I think, just decided it wasn't worth it. And that's kind of where we all come to, I think. Whatever side we're on in this thing, whoever we're in a relationship with, you just come to a point where you decide, gosh, is it worth the pain and the effort and the agony? And so Robin was, golly, of all the friends my daughter ever had, Robin was and no doubt is still the truest by far. And I remember that hurt, because disconnecting from anything related to your child, if you're a mother, you'll know exactly what I mean by that. And then Ronan was born. So Ronan is my great-grandson who was born last November. So when Ronan was born, I basically lost my mind, did what I could do to handle it, and that meant me being up at all hours of the night. I was in the midst of the Oprah response episode research and threw myself into it lock, stock, and barrel. It was the only way I could handle it. And a couple of people sent me pictures of him when he was first born. Of course they did. Great grandmother who should have been there for all of it. Golly, it never ends, does it? All of the lost memories, the stolen memories. So after that, it didn't really take long to come to understand that I can't do that. I can't watch from the outside. It eats away at me. It has for many years. If there's any kind of lesson in this brutal truth for you, if you can grab a hold of this nugget, truly, because it wasn't offered to me. There was no one out there way back when it all started. Really, there was no other groups. And so if you can grab on to anything, it's let go sooner than later. It is torture to hang on to what is basically a dead corpse. That's what it is. I know that's awful. It has to be for me to help you understand. Use me as a cautionary tale. No one, or few anyway, have more willpower. My friends will tell you that. I'm nothing if not determined and fierce and committed and loyal. And there was nothing. I didn't try. No rock I didn't turn over. Nothing worked. And in fact, it just made it worse. Because you see, my daughter knew she had me as a hostage. Because that's what it is. You are held hostage. I mean, that's not pretty either, but it is the God's honest truth. So when Ronan was born, and I very quickly came to understand that I needed to completely shut the door. And I guess maybe that's the whole point of this, is it's just utterly astonishing to me even now that we come this full cycle of these children who choose this way of life that is so foreign to anything any of us have ever experienced. And then all these years later, we come to that same decision that now we have to let it all go. We can't hang on to any of it because it will only act as a cancer. There's such a dilemma in how do you let go of blood, Mother of God. No, it's never before been contemplated in history, my friend. That's why it is so effing hard. What the actual fuck? So anyway, I had to let go of Larry, which I never thought I'd do either. The father of my oldest living granddaughter. I tried. Oh my God, there's another. I'm exhausted by how much I tried to make it work. But you can't work somebody else's recovery. You can't help somebody else want to live, not permanently. You can give all this little gas, right? Boom, boom. You're giving all this time and all this energy and trying to build this relationship that just isn't there. And I didn't realize for the longest time that, again, it's come full circle. So for Larry, who had lost everything, both of his parents to that tornado in Utica, Illinois, and then just a few months later, we lost my son, my daughter's brother, to suicide 1,200 miles from home. And then they got married 2 weeks later. And then Olivia was born 6 weeks after that. And then TJ was born a year after that. And then it just all kept coming. And my daughter now, all these years later, has gone through 4 marriages, and Larry has been in and out and back in and now out. It's exhausting. It's so exhausting. I finally had to tell Larry, and this was done with love. I said to him, I just have to let go of you. He had helped create this monstrous cancer that had eaten away at my granddaughters and my relationship. He was a significant part of the destruction along with my daughter. And he lives a different life now, but the destruction remained and grew. And then he just didn't want to get involved and didn't have the strength and didn't. And so all these years later, I sit here with just pictures. And so I finally told him I couldn't do it anymore. And I said, I'm going to block you on social media altogether. You will continue to have my phone number. And he sent me a happy Mother's Day via text. And I responded after a few minutes and said, please don't ever torture me with those words again. And he said, well, I just wanted you to know I was thinking of you. It was about him. And just a few days later, he sent me a happy birthday. And I said to him a second time, I've asked you not to send text to me about happy anything. There is no happy in my world. You see, they just like to fool themselves, because if you send the message, well, then you've done something. No, you haven't. So I said to him, I don't want to hear from you anymore via text ever, unless it's an emergency. Now that's not easy, y'all. I love Larry like a son. Always have. But I can't enable any of this anymore. And I need for him to understand. The reason I blocked him was because he would peek into all of my social media world and know everything that was going on, but never offer anything of his own to anyone really on social media. And that's just not acceptable to me. It's called social media for a reason. Virtual sun porches is what they are. And so I don't want anyone on my virtual sun porch who isn't going to give as well as take. Beyond that, I just needed to cut that connection because it hurts just way too much to know that he and others choose to just watch and do nothing, just simply watch the pain. It's like you're just sitting by, eating popcorn, watching my agony. So I did block him, and then, like I said, he sent me a couple of texts, and then I put the further boundary into place, and I've never, ever done that before. Ever. Not in all of these years. And I did it gently, but firmly, and said, don't text me anymore unless it's an emergency. That was Mother's Day. It was a week ago yesterday, and my birthday was a couple of days after that. Yesterday, I was online and looking at something and suddenly realized that my daughter had unblocked me on her Facebook account. I could see where her name was. I could have, and did actually, click on it for just a few seconds. I was very surprised to see I'd been unblocked, and for just the briefest of moments, I considered not blocking her. I didn't want to block her. I didn't want to. But I had to, you see. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The first one being, I saw a picture of my great-grandson. It cuts like a knife. And that's all I'll say about that. Also, it's right after Mother's Day and my birthday, so in all likelihood, she's just wanting to see if I'm in pain. She's always liked to check in on that. Somehow it's brought her some kind of, I don't know, satisfaction maybe. And the final reason is because I want us to reconnect. Desperately, I always have. But it won't be through social media. It will not be that way. We need to have a conversation, my daughter and I. It will be a private one if it ever happens. She will come home. She will come home. And she will sit down in front of her mom. And we will talk. And nothing else will do. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I've created this other life now, such as it is. One of the benefits of coming to this place in your journey, of finally arriving at a place where you will not be held hostage under any circumstances. You come to this place of full acceptance. It's very freeing. So one of the advantages of being there is that you also become very fierce in your focus, and you don't mince words. You can cut to the center of authenticity, to the bone of the matter in a heartbeat, and often do. And it makes people uncomfortable, the ones who are not deeply connected with you. But it is so worth it with the ones in which you reach that level. And it gives us strength to stand up to, well, let me be very clear. I want my daughter to come home. Jessica, I want you to come home. Let's just sit down and talk. You only take one conversation, you and I, just one. And then it'll be like no time pass at all. But we need to do that because we both experienced psychological homicide when your brother lost his war and took his own life. We both have to rebuild. It won't be hard. Not once the first step is taken. I love you. Whatever you decide, whatever path you take, whichever direction you go in, I do love you. And I'm genuinely sorry that was never enough.